In the vast world of contemporary watercolor, filled with light-drenched landscapes and expressive splashes, one name quietly stands apart: Jung Hun-Sung. Without loud colors or grand statements, his art whispers. It doesn't demand attention, it gently invites it. His watercolor portraits, often painted in monochrome or minimal palettes, contain a level of depth and emotion that many artists spend a lifetime chasing. There is something arresting in their stillness, something unspoken that lingers long after the image fades from view. Jung Hun-Sung was born in South Korea, a country where artistic tradition meets modern innovation. His early years were shaped by a culture that values discipline, craftsmanship, and quiet beauty, elements that would eventually seep into every inch of his creative expression. While details of his formal art education are not widely publicized, it is clear from his works that he is both deeply skilled and intensely introspective. One does not learn this kind of sensitivity from textbooks alone. What makes Jung's work particularly compelling is its restraint. He chooses to do more with less, to omit rather than explain, to suggest rather than define. In many of his portraits, the background fades into emptiness. There are no props, no distractions, only the face, the moment, the mood. His paintings often feel like memories, soft around the edges, vivid in emotion, but fleeting. He does not seek to capture a likeness as much as he seeks to capture a presence. His medium of choice, watercolor, plays a vital role in this aesthetic. Watercolor is notoriously difficult to control, yet Jung wields it like a fluent language. The softness of his washes, the subtle gradations of value, and the transparency of his layers all work together to create a kind of poetic realism. Never photographic, always interpretive. Each stroke seems to ask a question rather than give an answer. While many portrait painters labor over minute details, Jung embraces imperfection. A single brushstroke may suggest a shadow, a whisper of expression, or a line of thought. The eyes in his portraits, though often loosely rendered, seem to hold entire stories. He knows exactly when to stop, when the portrait says enough. That silence, that space, is his signature. In recent years, Jung Hun-Sung has shared his process with a growing global audience through his YouTube channel. The videos are quiet, often unaccompanied by narration or music, allowing viewers to focus entirely on the painting process. We watch as the image slowly emerges from a blank sheet, each decision made in real time. It's as meditative as it is educational. In a digital world of speed and noise, Jung offers a rare and welcome pause. To understand Jung Hun-Sung's technique is to understand his respect for simplicity. His materials are few: a sheet of paper, a brush, a palette with mostly neutral tones. And yet, from this limited toolkit, entire worlds unfold. His color choices rarely exceed a few tones, often staying within the grayscale spectrum or muted sepias. This is not due to limitation, but intention. By stripping away distractions of color, he brings us closer to the essence of his subjects. Jung's portraits are less about appearance and more about presence. He does not attempt to replicate a photograph. Instead, he interprets the person before him. There's always a moment of vulnerability in his work, a pause, a sigh, a silent thought caught in stillness. These moments are not accidental. They are the result of years of observation and emotional awareness. Light plays an essential role in his compositions. Often, entire sections of the paper are left untouched, serving as luminous highlights. This negative space is as important as any pigment. It defines form, directs the eye, and creates an atmosphere of softness. Rather than layering endlessly, Jung knows when to hold back, allowing the whiteness of the paper to breathe through his brushstrokes. Edges in his work are rarely sharp. Forms dissolve into one another, Backgrounds fade into the void, and transitions are often suggested rather than drawn. This subtlety allows viewers to engage with the portrait on a more intuitive level. It feels honest, human, and deeply personal. His use of water is particularly notable. Jung often allows the water to guide the pigment, letting it pool and spread with gentle freedom. This partnership between artist and medium results in textures and gradients that feel organic. The unpredictability of water becomes a collaborator rather than a challenge. He embraces accidents, paint that bleeds, edges that soften, shapes that blur, and incorporates them into the story of the portrait. Perhaps most striking is the way he captures time. His subjects seem caught in mid-thought or mid-breath. They are not performing for the viewer. They are simply existing. In this way, his paintings transcend traditional portraiture. They are moments, suspended, quiet, and deeply felt. Many of Jung's works are based on live models or photographic references, yet he never copies. He interprets, he reduces, he listens. Each portrait is not only about the subject, but also about the space around them, the air, the light, the unspoken. In an age where artists are constantly pushed to explain, narrate, and promote, Jung Hun-Sung does the opposite. His online presence is subtle. He does not speak during his videos. He rarely appears on camera. There are no flashy edits, no dramatic music, no technical breakdowns. Instead, we watch a brush move across paper in real time. And somehow that simplicity is more powerful than any spoken word. The silence is not empty. It's intentional. It gives space for focus, for contemplation. Viewers often find themselves mesmerized not only by the transformation of blank paper into portrait, but by the atmosphere created through the absence of noise. In a digital landscape filled with tutorials and talking heads, Jung's quiet videos stand out as moments of pause. It's not just his technique that draws people in, it's the feeling his work evokes. There's something universally human in the way he paints. His portraits do not rely on cultural cues, fashion, or setting. They rely on expression, gaze, and posture. This universality allows viewers from every background to connect with his work, to see themselves or someone they love in the brushstrokes. Many comments on his videos speak to this emotional resonance. Viewers describe his paintings as calming, meditative, haunting, or deeply moving. Some say they watch just to feel peaceful. Others say they cry without knowing why. That is the true power of art, not to impress, but to reach something honest within us. And yet, despite this emotional impact, Jung Hun-Sung remains humble in his approach. His focus stays on the craft, not the persona. He does not chase virality or praise. His success is organic, a result of authenticity, patience, and consistency. In doing so, he has built a quiet legacy. Thousands now follow his work across platforms, not because he demands attention, but because he earns it. In every video, we are reminded that art does not need to shout to be heard. Sometimes the softest voice speaks the loudest. This quiet philosophy extends beyond his work and into the heart of what it means to be an artist today. Jung Hun-Sung teaches us that mastery is not about complexity, but about clarity. That beauty can be found in restraint, and that connection can happen in silence. As the brush lifts for the final time, the portrait is complete. not because every detail is rendered, but because everything essential has been said. This is the magic of Jung Hun-Sung. He paints not to impress, but to understand. Not to decorate, but to distill. His portraits are not final answers. They are quiet conversations left open-ended, waiting for the viewer to complete them. There is an elegance in his restraint and a courage in his minimalism. It takes boldness to stop painting before the image is finished, in the traditional sense. Yet Jung understands that emotion lies in suggestion, not saturation. That truth is often whispered, not shouted. That sometimes the most powerful part of a painting is the part left undone. This philosophy places him in a rare category of watercolorists, those who seek not perfection, but presence. His works do not try to capture people in a moment of performance, but rather in a moment of being. Each portrait becomes a mirror, reflective, delicate, and deeply human. Art educators, students, and fellow painters around the world now study his methods, not just for their technical precision, but for their emotional clarity. His approach is a masterclass in balance, between light and dark, activity and stillness, form and space. Through his brush, silence becomes a tool of expression, and simplicity becomes a form of sophistication. Perhaps Jung Hun-Sung's greatest contribution is not any single painting, but the collective impression he leaves through all of them. His body of work serves as a gentle reminder that art can be honest without being loud, emotional without being theatrical, and masterful without being complex. He does not paint for the sake of attention. He paints because he must, because in every line, every shadow, and every pause, there is something to be felt, something to be understood. And in that act of quiet creation, he invites us not just to observe, but to feel, to reflect, to breathe. As we step away from the last frame of his process, we don't just remember a face. We remember a feeling. We carry the weight of silence, the grace of imperfection, and the quiet brilliance of a hand that knows when to let go. And that, in the end, is what makes Jung Hun-Sung's art unforgettable.